Good morning. Here we go. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Indiana, Ohio, where the primaries delivered some key information. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Wednesday, May 6, 2026. In this right here, the thing that you're watching, it's called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM stands for the New American Media. Let's make it larger. The New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. Of course, Monday through Friday at noon Eastern time. This show might be earlier in the morning. It might be later in the evening. For now, it is at noon Eastern time. And we encourage you to come on into our bar. Come on into our bar. Da-da-ba-ba-da-ba. My name's Brian, the bartender. Belly on up. We're going to talk about all the things that everybody else is talking about, all the current events. People say, "Oh, you're not supposed to talk about politics in a bar." You go, no. Hold on. Don't do that. We're not doing that. No. It's not how we do this. They're called current events. And when we engage with a conversation, we should be able to agree to disagree. And if one side says, "I'm going to agree to disagree with you on that one, and I want to put a pin in that. I don't want to keep talking about that topic," just bounce to the next one. Usually one side's like, "Well, no, you don't get it." No, what I get is I've tapped out of this. Let's go on to something else, because I bet we agree on like 95 out of 100 things, and I don't want to choose to spend another moment like two rams butting heads. You know, that's a far cry from capitulation. Putting a pin into a point of contention and pivoting to another area with which you may find common ground with the person you're conversing with. That is a far cry from capitulation. Capitulation, of course, would be the Indiana Republicans who said, "No, we're not going to redistrict." And you go, there's 40% of those northeastern states, all across New England, 45%, almost half of the people there have zero congressional representation because of how these maps were drawn. You see what Virginia's done. You see what California's trying to do. You see what's happening all over the place. And you see what the Supreme Court just said. Gerrymandering your congressional districts based on race is illegal. That means everybody needs to redraw your maps. Many people say that it's, this might be a game changer for the race hustlers in the nation of America. You know, you're supposed to look at your neighbors and go, "Are you annoying? Are you too loud? Are you causing a mess? Are you causing a problem? Are you helpful? What type of neighbor are you? Do you take care of your place? Are you a good person?" But pretty much since the Civil Rights Act has allowed Democrats to focus a broad portion of their major policy as a party, their platform is to push more divisive race hoaxes. It's not to say anything really, other than the Democrats have weaponized the subject and they're addicted to it, and they have to keep adding more fuel to the fire, cranking it up on the stove, pouring more gas on the fire. It is counterproductive to a harmonious society to do stuff like that, to live that way, to allow that to continue, and definitely stop it from growing. Because we've been sort of on a collision course with the Barack Hussein Obama method of divide and conquer. You know, look, we're just 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Fundamental transformation. We've had about 20 years of this crap. When did he start running? 2007. We're in 2026. That's really been like 20 years now. Oh my Lord, have we gone off the rails, prioritizing the wrong things and really just poisoning. We've been Munchausen mommy. We being the Democrats. The Democrats have served as Munchausen mommy to the people that they hook with the allure of their complaint. Well, things are tough, so you got to vote for me. Well, those people are really bad, so I will protect you. When the SPLC is funding the KKK that they stage the photo op for so that they can put it on all their fundraising advertisements, who's the bad guy? Who's the bad guy? Well, some would say it's the people who are pushing that sort of division for power and control. And that's been the Democrat Party. So now you get to redraw all of the maps. You have to. You simply must, because of what's happened now. It being illegal to draw based on race, you draw based on other components. And guess what? Maybe now maps could be drawn so that one or two city centers of mass dense population that, man, if there's any way to put your thumb onto the scale and affect the outcome, guarantee you it has been thought of 20 different times, because with that comes power and control politically. And that's where we've been as a nation. The Democrats have been pushing division, hate, hoaxes, pushing through their media, causing brain damage in the people that consume it. No joke, literally causing brain damage. Look at the levels of mental illness in the people that consume this crap, because it's pushed for one reason. Make you think there's a boogeyman at the door. They're coming to get you. They're going to disappear you. All of these things. It's terrible. It's pathetic. And we've learned some lessons. We've learned some lessons. By the way, everybody hit thumbs up. Hit the like button, please. Why did Indiana and Ohio go so far MAGA? It wasn't a clean sweep. I think it was 5-1.5, 5-1. I got to get the latest update. Not entirely certain where it's going to shake out. Indiana rolled over and said, no, we're not going to do what all the Democrat states are doing. Well, you know what? You're gone. Because this is an existential task for survival. This is an existential threat to our nation. This is an existential crisis for our republic in our 250th year. We're either going to be rotted away from the inside, or we're going to get this figured out and establish some clear barriers and borders again, boundaries. Indiana Republicans with no spine were by and large removed yesterday. Trump-supported candidates did very well. So to the Democrats in MAGA clothing, DIMK, there's a lot who sort of jumped over with like the RFK reluctant Trump libertarian. We're like, I'm out on Trump. You saw the Fuentes comment about encouraging people to vote Democrat, and you saw the person who lost to Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday to vote Democrat. Okay. You do not get to control the Republican Party. And my God, the fact that you were trying to control the Republican Party. Nah. No. I am not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. The only thing worse than the Republican Party is the Democrat Party. But you don't ever vote for Democrat, anyone, anywhere, ever. That party is beyond repair. It must be splintered into 1,000 pieces and scattered to the winds. Tossed in the dumpster fire of history for destructive, antithetical, anti-successful, reverse, detrimental what word am I looking for? Regressive. They like to call themselves progressive, regressive political parties that any nation has ever seen. So it matters. It matters that you fight, and it matters peacefully and patriotically, mind you. Go back and check our footage from that day. Republicans need to have the spine for this. Everything is at stake in a way that I don't think it's ever been all on the line before. The battle lines have never been more clear, who's good and who's bad. And you wage a campaign of politics. Because in this country, you're supposed to wage a war with your words and your ideas. That's what's supposed to happen. You see how many assassination attempts, you see Charlie Kirk get eliminated in public while blue cities with blue activist judges keep letting out 29-time, 35-time, 42-time, 53-time repeat offender felons to keep butchering us in the streets. One side of this equation, this blue Democrat ideology, it is destructive with almost everything it touches. And so you saw Indiana and Ohio go red. Maybe you have a problem with H-1B visas with Vivek Ramaswamy. You should. So you put the best option that you have in, and then you start going to work to get him to change that thing. And you keep going and you don't stop. You can support President Trump and say, I need to see Fauci indictments. What are you doing? Where's the DOJ? You have until May 11th, May 10th. Like, go. We need the Department of Justice holding Anthony Fauci accountable for the lies and the crimes against humanity, for freaking out the doctors in the medical community where he wouldn't allow doctors to be doctors. Criminalized hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, monoclonal antibodies as potentially therapeutic options that could have helped save lives in this country. And my family was immediately impacted by that. A family member said that my brother would be alive right now if it were Donald Trump in office, because of all the regulations and the restrictions and the confusion. When my brother reached out for monoclonal antibodies, and he told the story of how the Biden administration was banning their use and was claiming they were non-effective, even though that hadn't been proven. Essentially, all it was getting payback for Ron DeSantis in Florida, who was being successful with monoclonal antibodies. And they didn't want anything to get in between them and their graft of selling vaccines. If this works, then it's going to cut into our profits. So they lied about it. Or they had a difference of opinion on it. Or the jury was still out, but they strong-armed them anyway. Either way, the amount of pressure that was put on the doctors to not allow that as an option, when you had patients specifically requesting it, requesting the opportunity to attempt it instead of remdesivir or a ventilation tube. Do we have bodily autonomy to ask for our wishes, or are we just cattle? Do we make our decisions, or do they? Are we the slave? Are they the master? So I can have problems with Vivek Ramaswamy and his data centers, the water consumption, the lack of privacy, and the spy grid that's being entrenched right in front of us. I got concerns about that. I have concerns about H-1B visas. Stop it. No more people in this place. Stop. None. There's a moratorium on it. Stop. No more people. Train these people to do that. Enough. Enough. No more slave labor. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And no more massive unemployment leading to drug addiction and bad decisions and opioid overdose. I got problems, concerns about Vivek Ramaswamy. But you know who he's running up against? He won like 83-17, by the way. They called the race in like 3 minutes for Vivek, who's going to represent the Republicans and MAGA in the state of Ohio as governor. Mike DeWine was not a Republican. He claims to be, but he's one of those Mitch McConnell Republicans, one of those Mitt Romney Republicans. You know the type, the Liz Cheney Republicans. They ain't Republican. They're deep state. They're what you call a rhino. Amy Acton was the henchwoman of Anthony Fauci and Mike DeWine. And some of the most restrictive, abusive COVID-19 protocols and terrorism campaigns against doctors to provide the Merrick protocol, told that we're not allowed to administer the Merrick protocol, high-dose vitamin C drip, can't administer that. Ivermectin at a certain, 60 milligrams, whatever the milligrams were, at a certain milligrams. No, we refuse to do that. All of the indications, all of the recommendations, all of the advice from the doctor that we chose to work with were denied by the doctors in the state of Ohio and told that Amy Acton, Anthony Fauci, the state regulatory boards, they're all saying that we can't do anything except for one prescribed treatment for everybody. One size fits all. Yeah. You know what that's called? It's called a fucking casket. That's what Democrat nominee for governor of Ohio, Amy Acton, recommended as a treatment with Anthony Fauci and the powers that be. We're shutting all of these things down. Schools and jobs and all of these things, just society in general. And we're going to work to actively campaign to say you can't use hydroxychloroquine, you can't use ivermectin, you can't use monoclonal antibodies. We're not going to talk about the Merrick protocol. We're not going to talk about vitamin C drip or NAD or all the other things that could have been tried. Vitamin D megadose of 50,000. All sorts of things, all sorts of things. But the medical establishment of the state of Ohio represented the Biden administration. That's the third Obama term, the New World Order, the globalists, the deep state, whatever you want to call it. Their plan for you is we are the master. You are the slave. Sit down, shut up. I will dictate to you everything about your life and death. I will tell you how it's going to be, when it's going to be. And that's that, tough guy. Oh, really? That's what you say, Amy Acton? Okay. So can I imagine a universe where I have problems with the data centers that Vivek is proposing? Questions about the billions that he's earned and how he got there? Can I have concerns about his desire to import more people into the United States, Ohio as well, with non-citizens instead of just training people here to do jobs? I can have those concerns and still support him to finish the political career. I can't believe they even put her up, Amy Acton, with what she represents. The Biden, Obama, Fauci overreach of COVID regulation. This shit matters. And it's easy to just say, if it's not Trump, I don't care. Or, I don't know, I'll just vote Republican. It matters that you sort of take a second to appreciate the nuance of where we're at. There's a I don't know, it's a kaleidoscope. There are many different facets, many different angles to view our current situation from. But either way you look at it, the Republicans swept the board. Well, I don't know, swept. The Republicans did very well in these two states, these very important states. The MAGA Republicans did the best. And it shows you there's some basic line in the sand stuff. It's like the Save America Act, John Thune. It takes 5 senators to replace him. What are we waiting for? Why are we burning daylight? Why are we waiting? Is that a strategy? Trying to spring something on people so they don't have time to prepare for it? That just sounds like chaos and lawsuits and uncertified elections to me. So if you got a brilliant fucking plan, GOP, tell me. Otherwise, get Thune the hell out of there and put someone in that's going to act like a MAGA Republican to do what needs to be done to fix this country from falling apart. That's what Indiana said. No more Republicans in name only. Get John Thune and these deadbeats out and put people in that are going to do what needs to happen. The Save America Act. Get it done. Yeah, but they'd have to use this procedure and that procedure. Use this procedure, use that procedure, and defend this nation in this last off-ramp while we still can. You can still steer the car over before it runs off the cliff. But you've got to grab that wheel right now, and you have to yank it right. Right now. And it almost feels more now or never than it even did in 2024 or 2022 or 2020 or 2016. Because I think with the Doge spending investigations, the indictments of the SPLC and James Comey, what's the phrase they'd always say with President Trump? The walls are closing in. The walls, they be a closing. That'd be a good blues song. Doom, 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 doom. Well, them walls are closing. Yeah, them walls they're closing in. It always ends with James Hetfield. Yeah. Cha. It sure feels like the Democrats are backed into a corner. The investigations have begun in Minneapolis. They're lifting the hood in the hospice fraud in Los Angeles, looking into Karen Bass, looking into Gavin Newsom and his bullet train to nowhere. They're looking into the deep state. They're looking into the grand conspiracy. They're looking into Letitia James, and they're looking into Alvin Bragg, and they're looking into lawfare, and they're looking into Fauci. Cool. Where are the indictments? We've seen a couple, but where are the rest at? Why are we still waiting? This is a no black pill zone. I get it. There are days you get frustrated about Hormuz or Israel or Ukraine or Russia or Venezuela, or, you know, you can step back and certain issues can bother you more on different days. And we're not promised a universe where things are going to be perfect. That's just not part of this video game. That's just not how this works. But we know what's right. We know what's wrong. We know what we have to do. And as Plato said, indifference to public affairs gives a sanction to being ruled by inferior men. Indifference to public affairs indifference to public affairs leads to giving a sanction. You know what? Hang on. I think I have the pronunciation of this off. Plato, sanction, inferior men, quotes. Indifference to public affairs is a sanction for inferior men. I'm missing a couple connective words here. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. The Republic says the heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. That's a direct quote. Take care of yourself, or, you know, that's the heaviest penalty. Someone inferior to you is going to be making your major decisions. And that's what happens if you sit it out. If you say, you know what, I'm voting Democrat instead. No. No Democrat anywhere ever again. Everyone. You got to talk to your friends. You got to talk to your neighbors. You got to talk to your family. You got to develop a nice way to do it and just say, I don't know. Have you paid any attention to, I got that in the mail about voting. You plan on voting? You can have polite conversations and you can agree to disagree. You don't need to get hyperbolic or get into arguments. Maybe poke around. So today on the show, we're going to poke around into the news. Of course, MAGA revenge tour continues in Indiana, Ohio. Speaking of revenge, the death penalty has been issued for that FedEx driver. Oh, he earned it. And we need to start doing these in public or on pay-per-view. And I sort of have a bloodlust for more of these. Is that sadistic, or do I think that the demons have been running free range for far too long? I think it's time that a very clear reminder be sent to the monsters what we will and will not tolerate as a society. We know what the Democrats have been tolerating, promoting even. But the rest of us, the one that actually represent we the people, no. There are lines that can be crossed. And I understand the pacifist, I understand the anti-death penalty people that say, oh, well, maybe a lifetime in jail would be more of a punishment. I can understand that perspective. Some people say, well, he's going to get abused in there and that's going to be even better. And it's like, hang on, our guidelines are against cruel and unusual punishments. That's supposed to be a guiding principle. Whether we'd kind of privately want to just let him have a few hours alone with him, go medieval on his ass, like in Pulp Fiction. But we're supposed to have the standards of nothing cruel and unusual. Set that aside for a second. But pencils have erasers for the guy that took out Irina Zarutska. Pencils have erasers for the FedEx driver that did that to that girl. Pencils have erasers for treasonous plots. Pencils have erasers. So we're going to talk about that story, as fun as that's going to be. But we have a whole bunch of other stories too. So make sure you're following the New American Media in all of the places, especially Patreon. You can be like $5 or $10 a month and really support us. Once a month, we get a Lego block and we keep building the foundation of the New American Media. $5 or $10 might not seem like a lot to you, but it is over here because they start stacking. You can start building a wall with Legos. Each donation is a Lego block and you start one after the other and you look back, the wall keeps getting bigger. Or the expenses go take bricks, you turn around and your wall gets lower and you need to grab new bricks to keep building and stay even. There's different ways you can describe this, but follow us on Patreon at the New American Media. Support us in any way that you can. Rumble and YouTube allow monthly subscriptions as well. Thanks to your viewership, your support, helping us spread the show, we were able to get our monetization back after a 5-year hiatus on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. But as your bartender, if you wanted to drop a Rumble rant tip or a super chat tip on Rumble or YouTube respectfully, you just click the button and you slide a $5 bill across. You slide a $50 bill across. You slide a 20. I've had everybody do some version of that, and you were all fantastic. You're the reason I do this. I stand here singing, playing some songs on the guitar. I'm at the street corner. Another analogy. I got my guitar case open. If you like what you're hearing, hey, help me pay the bus fare to get back home. Maybe grab dinner on the way. Maybe I got an electric bill I got to pay. And if you guys are, we all work in different ways. Some of us are better researchers and communicators, and some of us are better dollar earners. And in the community we're trying to build, we got to support each other. It feels like we're surrounded by a lot of apathetic people. Or even worse, you're surrounded by people that are suffering from some sort of mental condition from this deep state, lying legacy media, brainwashing, literal poison in our school curriculum, in the Democrat political messaging. And it has a way of changing people. So when we find people that sort of get it, maybe we don't agree on every issue. How could anyone agree with everybody on every issue? Of course we don't. But on a lot of the major issues, we're going to. And that's why we're family. That's why we hang out here. That's what we have happening. And it's important to support each other. So let me put this up on the screen. The other 3 places you can drop something into our tip jar. It's Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Venmo, Cash App is just my name, Brian Engelman. PayPal is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. So without further delay, we're going to take a look at the news. We'll do it. I will need to fill this beverage up. So let's do a simultaneous sip in honor of Scott Adams and his departed ex-wife. Simultaneous sip time. If you want to participate, all you need is a cup or mug or glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go! That's a good. Super fast. Time. That was my Olympic trial. How fast could I do the simultaneous sip? Can someone count that out? Was that 4.5 seconds? Was that 7 seconds? I don't know. And you'd be right to say, you said all of that, Micro Machine Man, you don't need any more coffee. Yeah, this is dark coffee. Maybe it's got a little bit more zip to it. Not really. Coffee doesn't really impact me that way. But still, I'm excited for the show. So buckle up, buttercups. Text your friends. Hit the like button. Share the show with your friends. Share it on X. Share it on Facebook. Share it through text message. All the things, all the places. Invite a few buddies. The TNAM Daily Show starts now.
Guide to the Truth, the new AmericanMedia.com.
New show intro. I'm feeling a calling. I'm feeling called to do this now. I occasionally, all the places I've been. The conversations we've had. I essentially leave 3-hour-long diary entries. Norm Macdonald has a joke about how our great-grandfather or his grandfather, he's got one picture. He's like, holding up like a pitchfork. He's like, He's standing there in overalls because everyone had one picture. He's like, I got to get back to them hogs. I got to tend to them hogs. Compared to now. And it's like, oh, would you like to see this one picture of my grandfather? Along with everything he ever thought every single day of his life. Here's 10,000 videos. Think about it. We know almost next to nothing about our lineage, do we? Maybe legend and lore, how they're thought of. I don't know. Speaking of legend and lore, let's welcome everybody into the program. Let's put you up on the screen here with your chat. There we go. Display, demo, all settings, compact, rounded. Okay, we'll start with that. Oh, look at this. Kenneth coming in off the top ropes. Yes. The super elbow. An electric slide. Slide, slide, slippity slide. Kenneth with the super chat. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Yep. Making it a contest, trying to throw silver coins into the tip bucket. You got the, you know, that classic tin bucket, the tip bucket. Just throw some silver coins over there. I'll dance. Oh, no, it was really 11.45 seconds. Like, Leon, you tend to answer questions that I ask and forget that I asked. And then I go, oh, this is great. Now, if that's accurate, I wonder if I could top it. Of course, I couldn't stutter, but I'm going to try it one more time because I wasn't really trying. I just halfway through committed to just going for it. Oh. Where did you start the timing? Because I'll talk about the simultaneous sip, and if you'd like to participate, all you need is... I don't need that recorded. I just mean a cup or mug or glass. Starting from a cup. Was that the start point? Because there is like the wind up and the pitch. The wind up is participate in the simultaneous sip. And if you'd like to do that, you can do it right now. All you need is... And the pitch. A cup or mug or glass, tank, chalice, stein, canteen, jug, or flask, a vessel of any kind, filled with liquid. I like coffee. Enjoy me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day. The thing that makes everything better is called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go! Ah. How fast was that? That might be tough to beat. Hello, Marion. Hello, everybody. Kenneth, voting no, voting yes. Well, Florida's redrawn their districts, right? But of course, I mean, they have 2 million more people. So, yeah, you should redraw your district when you have that many new people. All right, let's dig into the news, shall we? Let's clickety-clack on this. Reminder of where we're at, what's been working in the background for a little while now. We're all waiting, we're waiting. Here's Tulsi Gabbard laying it all out. And this connects us right to Amy Acton represents Fauci, and we need to indict Fauci, and we need to do it today. Amy Acton, the Democrat running for governor of Ohio against Vivek Ramaswamy.
Thing that we are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, on with, as well as Secretary Kennedy, is looking at the gain of function research that, in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world, was actually U.S. funded and leads to this dangerous kind of research that, in many examples, has resulted in either a pandemic or some other major health crisis.
Let me ask you specifically.
Now, you can take that at face value just based on what it is, which is fine. But then also, it was the cover-up, and it was restricting other options, saying you take a jab or you can't exist in society. And says, oh, no, there's no other, you can't do those other things. That's like horse paste. And no, we'll ban those antibodies. No, you can't do anything but the only thing we say. And we're going to have a financial stake in this. Our masters told us to inject this into you, and this is the delivery mechanism, and we're not going to back off on it. That's what Amy Acton represents. That's what Anthony Fauci represents, and he fucking lied to all of us about the origination story so we wouldn't pin it on him. Meanwhile, we could have been identifying what it is and how to best treat it and opening up all the treatment options so every doctor everywhere could try some different things and report back, hey, I'm having great success doing this. The Merrick protocol is working fantastic. You got to get the vitamin C drip. Try ivermectin at 60 milligrams. Try vitamin D at 50,000 units or whatever it is. That was one of my biggest problems with Obamacare. Quick. Look, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your plan, you can keep your plan. The cost, I told Michelle the other day, look, you look at healthcare and you say, you didn't build that. This is just, they're giving you the old okie doke here. Look, this Affordable Care Act, it's going to take over 1/6 of the American economy. And look, it's going to be like the cost of your cable bill. It's going to put money back in your pockets. Don't delve deep into my Marxist past because, we don't put money in, we take it out. But look, if you like your plan, keep your plan. You like your doctor, keep your doctor. Cost of, a cable bill, $100 or something. So just vote for this. Pelosi, she's just hurry up and vote for it. Can't wait to pass it so that we can figure out what's in it. That was the Fauci plan, by the way. That was the Fauci plan. No, we're going to tell you where it's not from. We're not going to tell you what it does and how it originated and have all of the access to all of the best information so we could quickly work to get everybody to boost their vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc and the NADs and all of the other things, the potentially therapeutic options, the prophylactic options that we all could have used instead of being told, here, inject this. Oh, no? Oh, then you're fired. Oh, then you can't travel. Oh, you can't be outside or we'll arrest you. And that's Amy Acton. And it's all connected. Rand Paul is like, Fauci, you're a fucking liar. Right in Congress. Liar, 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 liar. They say the statute of limitations is going to run out on indicting Fauci in a couple of days. Where is the indictment?
Specifically, because we already know that EcoHealth Alliance was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain-of-function research.
That's right.
We just have never been able to have somebody say, it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. But have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on?
We are working on that with Jay Bhattacharya and look forward to being able to share that hopefully very soon.
Okay.
That specific.
Hopefully very soon. We're almost out of time.
Specific
link.
Correct. Between the gain of function research and what we saw with COVID-19.
I mean, that would be extraordinary because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called bat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The thing that he denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
That's right. Under oath.
Under oath, exactly. So is it any wonder that he sought a preemptive pardon for anything during a certain period of time by President Biden before he left office?
And then strong-armed and smeared people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya.
Strong-armed, smeared, scared them shitless. We're going to revoke your license. My brother's doctor was told there were no monoclonal antibodies. Biden screwed up. I didn't even finish it. It was 5 miles down the fucking road. But the doctor was terrified. He was threatened. He was coerced. He was cajoled. He was scared. He was confused. Options were removed from him. Everything got confused and muddied on what he could do, what he couldn't do, where anything was. They said, we are the end-all, be-all for everything. I don't know if monoclonal antibodies could have helped my brother, but you know what? As soon as they were asked for, he should have fucking received them. You had Fauci out there lying. No, this isn't helpful. No, this isn't helpful. No, we know everything about this. And no, it didn't come from wherever you all say you know it came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It's not like it did. It was like, I don't know, a bat kissed a pangolin or something. And now we're backed up right now against the statute of limitations on Fauci, lying to Rand Paul. Can we get an indictment? Can I please wake up to the world, or could you share breaking news with me while I'm doing this show? You had to share breaking news when Charlie got shot. I didn't enjoy that. Maybe let's balance it out. Maybe during this show. How about during this show? Breaking. Anthony Fauci indicted for crimes against humanity, lying to Congress, and more. How about we speak that into the universe? It's 12:50 p.m. on Wednesday, May 6th. How long will it take for me to get that breaking news? Because my name is Inigo Montoya. And Fauci, you took out half my immediate family, my mother and my brother. Prepare for justice. Justice being the courtroom. Legally, peacefully, patriotically. So fingers crossed.
Anybody who came out and said, I don't know if that's natural. This actually smacks of lab.
And the reason why this is so important is not just what happened in the past. It's because this gain of function research is happening in biolabs around the world. I got attacked, and I think you saw this. We've probably talked about it on your show before, when I warned against U.S.-funded biolabs in Ukraine when the Russia-Ukraine war kicked off for this very reason. Who knows what kinds of pathogens are in these labs, and if released, could create another COVID-like pandemic. And for that, I was called a Russian asset. You're, trumpeting Putin's talking points, all of this nonsense, simply for speaking the truth and stating facts that, by the way, are still on U.S. Embassy Ukraine's website today about how the U.S. has funded these biolabs in Ukraine. But my point is, in order to prevent another COVID-like pandemic or another major health incident that could affect us in the world, we have to end this gain of function research and provide the evidence that shows exactly why and how it's in our best interest, the American people's best interest, to bring about an end to it. But the thing that we are working...
Lord willing. Go, go, go. Button. Hurry up. It's hard to think of almost anything else. Just go, 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 go. Hurry up. Okay, so and I heard about the kamikaze dolphins. This is apparently a thing.
I can't confirm or deny whether we have kamikaze dolphins, but I can confirm they don't, ultimately. And I can't...
You got that? I guess that's a thing now. I didn't know this was a thing.
Confirm or deny whether we have kamikaze dolphins, but I can confirm they don't, ultimately. And I can't confirm or deny whether we have kamikaze dolphins, but I can confirm they don't.
All right, there's more on this drop here. Mary Ann McLeod Trump came to the U.S. knowing she would clean the houses and toilets of New York's elite. Six years later, she married Fred, the son of German immigrants. In 1942, Mary Ann became a U.S. citizen. Later on, her son Donald Trump would become the 45th and 47th president of the United States. Wow.
So,
okay. What's the latest on Iran? Oh, this is Hugh Hewitt. I've interviewed him. I need to put him on the intro.
look, if they had guns, which they don't have, if they had guns, guns were sent and other people took those guns. If they had guns, they would fight back. I'm convinced of that. But, you can't have an unarmed population against people with AK-47s and stand there, even if you have 250,000 people. So, you started off by asking me, would I like to see them? And I'm very torn on it because they lost 42,000 people in the first 2 weeks. I don't really want to see that. They have to have guns, and I think they're getting some guns. As soon as they have guns, they'll fight like as good as anybody.
I think out of muscle memory, he almost said fight like hell. See, now he's saying that's a literal fight, and he used that same phrase. We got him. It's so dumb. Democrats are so desperate to catch Trump at anything. But I thought he was going to say fight like hell. You know, that phrase that's often cited without the peacefully and patriotically part to really skew the context of what President Trump's message was to the 600,000 people that showed up on January 6th of 2021. Go back and look at our footage of that day. We provided a lot of content, a lot of footage there. But yeah, getting the Iranians some guns.
There is. So, look, if they had.
That's another.
Oh, okay. So here's Fauci. Oh, what a superstar with his smart striped socks. Man, he would look good in orange.
The whole problem in society is if the vaccine was accepted by society, we didn't have an anti-vax problem. We would have had a much, much more effective distribution of vaccine in this country. You're absolutely right. I mean, if everybody universally accepted that this was a safe and effective vaccine, we were trying to get 72% of the population vaccinated, and we never really got there. Whereas other countries had 85, 90% of the people vaccinated. So I think it depends on the country. That's different than the inequity that you have globally, which is, I think, more of a problem, that we had people getting their second and third booster before people in the developing world were getting their first shot. That's just unconscionable. That's another whole problem in society.
Fauci credits the anti-vax movement for undermining his efforts across the United States. Fauci failed to reach his goal to vaccinate 72% of the population.
What we're demonstrating
Pete Hegseth giving us an update
with Project Freedom is,
by the way, this is all a drop from the real Toria Brooke. Toria Brooke, follow her on. Never met her, never talked with her, but I like her drops. She does a good, few panel story montage.
they don't control the strait. I mean, we know Iran is embarrassed by the fact that our blockade is holding, and we can run ships through, and we're going to help the world run ships through. And if they hold it at issue, the whole world knows who's doing it. It's not us. We're willing to open it up. It's Iran, and that creates a dilemma for them. We hope they make a deal. What we're demonstrating with Project Freedom is they don't control the strait.
All right. The blockade is holding. And there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I mean, where are we? What is the latest? Are we still in a ceasefire, or is that over?
24 hours or so, Iran's fired at us, we fired at Iran. Just going to ask you more directly, is the ceasefire over?
No, the ceasefire is not over. Ultimately, this is a separate and distinct project, and we expected there would be some churn at the beginning, which happened. And we said we would defend and defend aggressively, and we absolutely have. Iran knows that. And ultimately, the president's going to make a decision whether anything were to escalate into a violation of a ceasefire. But certainly we would urge Iran to be prudent in the actions that they take to keep that underneath this threshold. This is about the straits. This is about freedom of navigation. This is about international waterways. This is about free flow of commerce, all the things that happened before, and only Iran is contesting. So right now the ceasefire certainly holds, but we're going to be watching very, very closely. Absolutely.
Secretary
James, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary.
Last 24 hours or so.
So, no, the ceasefire is not over. And there's some semantic games happening now. Semantics and legal, etc. Yeah, it's like going to war in a military operation in 30 days, 90 days, the War Powers Act in the 70s, and, all sorts of stuff. Here we go. Let's get this one big. President Trump is moving to restore the presidential fitness test again. Fitness test award. Reviving the competitive school-based program that was phased out during the administration of Barack Hussein Obama. Good.
For Congresswoman
We're getting an update on Fox News, a deadline for Ilhan Omar to turn over documents to the Minnesota Fraud Committee. buckle up. She should be indicted, and it should be happening almost immediately. I think we have everything we need.
On Omar to turn over documents to Minnesota's House Fraud Prevention Committee. The state is seeking communications tied to defendants in the $250 million Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. The nonprofit falsely claimed to serve millions of meals to children while pocketing federal funds. Omar's name appeared 6 times in court documents from the case as she reportedly communicated with the founder of Feeding Our Future. Omar's office has not responded to Fox News' multiple requests for comment. For Congress.
Anybody surprised that they haven't responded? Also, a criminal complaint stated there was an FAA contractor that threatened to K Trump with charges coming. Okay. It's derangement. It is derangement. Let's see. Okay. Also this story from yesterday. Bobby Kennedy Jr., that's me. I shared a story about a family member's struggle coming off of SSRIs. And I added that it's harder to withdraw from that than it is to get off heroin. So I won't play this again.
Family. And that's heartbreaking to hear from a family member. And I've heard that from hundreds and hundreds of people.
And I think that's what got Rush hooked on him, I believe. He had an injury, and then he got on I'm sorry, this is SSRIs. I'm confusing. No, totally different subject. He got hooked on Oxycontin. But either way, a lot of people are getting hooked on things, and it's leading to a spiral effect.
The same story again and again. It can be prolonged, and for many patients, it's completely unexpected. And the physicians handle this by saying, oh, this is your original symptom. Reasserting yourself, you need to get back on the SSRIs. And they get locked in a lifetime cycle that is, that for many patients is absolutely cataclysmic. This is a system failure. We're not going to ignore it.
And he's not ignoring it, and I'm appreciative of that. Senator Jim Banks says, remember when they tried to blame this on climate change? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Alleged Palisades arsonist became fixated with Luigi Mangione and started the California Palisades fire out of resentment for the rich, according to prosecutors. In the lying legacy media, academia, the Democrat politicians told you it was climate change. You don't despise the Democrat Party enough. They push political violence. It took, 30 lives? This guy killed 30 people? That's a fucking serial killer based on goofy Looney Tune shit that climate change is causing fires, or they're just trying to spin it that way because they spin everything that way. Oh yeah, eco-terrorism. That's a real win, tough guy. 30 people. How many birds? How many rabbits? How many deer? How many all wildlife did you just kill? Why? Why? Because somebody has something you don't? You jealous little shit? That guy should get the death penalty. And it should be right there on the Palisades. It should be right there at the epicenter of where that stuff went down, where people burned alive. Maybe you should hang him and then light the fire underneath. Maybe that's a little too cruel and unusual. Maybe hang him first and then burn him afterwards, so the burning doesn't happen. But it'll be a funeral pyre. He'll be spread to dust and tossed back into the ocean. Like he burned everything down, burn him down. Like I said, you got to do firing squad, you got to do lethal injection, do electric chair, fine. But then once done, I'll light the funeral pyre to ash, like he burned that whole region down. Put it on pay-per-view. Show people how we're not going to tolerate this bullshit anymore. I don't see this happening enough. You warn people that are maybe on the fence, like, I don't really want to, but I don't even care. I just don't want to get in trouble for it. Maybe I should just do it anyway. You think anyone will catch me? Oh, no, that's why you don't set an ecological disaster on fire. Idolizing Luigi Mangione, a hero of the Marxist left. To conquer, dominate, control, and destroy this nation. Burn it all down and govern over the ashes. That is the literal representation of the Democrat Party in 2026, people. I didn't really talk about the Met Gala. Some people did. I don't care. Look, I like Halloween. I like dress up. It's fine. But Ali London says, here's Sarah Paulson wearing a dollar bill over her eyes to call out the 1%. The actress is worth an estimated $12 million and used her outfit to call out the world's elite while attending the $100,000 per person Met Gala. So you're rich and you're flaunting it. You're rich and you're calling out the 1%? Okay. All right, go to cisa.gov/rumor control, cdc.gov, and who.int. It's on the bottom of the screen. I'm talking about drugs here. This Farron Brown, who I admit I'm not familiar with, but I want to read this and we'll read it together. He says, nicotine is not tobacco. It's not cigarettes or vaping. Nicotine is a compound that activates nicotinic acetylcholine receptors in the brain. When delivered through the skin via a patch, you bypass every harmful delivery mechanism and isolate the molecule itself. What does it actually do? Meta-analysis of 31 studies, 978 subjects, found transdermal nicotine improves attention and cognitive processing in healthy adults. 6-month clinical trial on non-smokers with mild cognitive impairment showed improvements in attention, memory, mental processing speed with zero addiction concerns at therapeutic doses. Nicotine activates cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway. Say that a few times fast. Hey, Harry Mack, I'd like you to do a freestyle. I'd like you to use the phrase cholinergic anti-inflammatory pathway. Don't rhyme pathway with inflammatory. It suppresses, here's my second word, microglial activation. Microglial activation. Microglial activation. Reduces F-alpha, TNF-alpha, RINOs, and Plain language, it lowers brain inflammation at the cellular level. That's why epidemiological data. My third word is epidemiological data. So could somebody clip that together and send it to Harry Mack and see if he can do a freestyle with those three phrases? It shows lower rates of neurodegenerative disease in nicotine users versus non-users. Neuroprotective is the claim from Farron Brown to dopaminergic neurons. These are the brain cells that degrade in Parkinson's and decline naturally with age. Animal studies show nicotine protects these neurons by reducing neuroinflammation and supporting synaptic plasticity. Oh, bonus word, synaptic plasticity. All right, those are the 4 words for Harry Mack to do a freestyle. Synaptic plasticity. Second bonus word, silent lucidity. Plays a role in amyloid processing relevant to Alzheimer's research beyond the brain. Nicotine improves focus, suppresses appetite through hypothalamic signaling, enhances fat oxidation. Transdermal patch delivers steady blood levels throughout the day without the spike and crash of smoking or vaping. No lung damage, no combustion byproducts, no oral health destruction, just the compound. Nicotine has been demonized because of the delivery systems built around it. The molecule itself is one of the most studied cognitive enhancers and neuroprotective agents in published research. Transdermal delivery isolates the benefit and removes the harm. Send this to someone who thinks nicotine and tobacco are the same thing. Oh, that's just like your opinion, man. I'm curious about the subject, I do admit. Countervailing views gone. I know that dress, it's not like you're going to sell it on the shelf at many of the stores where people buy dresses. Many have asked, who's that meant for? Who's that meant for? Who's that meant for? Kenneth, our king of puns, dropping elbows all day. Wrestling verbiage. Annabelle here says, and if I saw an alien, I wouldn't even give a fuck, honestly. I got too much going on, for real. Isn't that sort of where we're at? We've been so conditioned to it. You're like, all right, how are you going to pull a Project Bluebeam now? Like, what's it going to look like? So it's subterranean, aquatic reptilians, interdimensional. Got it. That seems to be the direction we're headed. I got my ear to the railroad track, listening down, seeing if I can project something headed this way. It's kind of what it seems like, but yeah. And if I saw an alien, I wouldn't even give a F, honestly. I got too much going on, for real. Will Robinson tells us, for the first time in history, a senior government scientist has been criminally indicted for allegedly destroying federal records tied to the origins of COVID-19, and what he said in his own emails is worse than anything you could make up. Dr. David Morins, 78, senior scientific advisor who reported directly to Anthony Fauci at the NIH for nearly 3 decades, just indicted by the Department of Justice on charges including conspiracy against the United States, destruction of federal records, falsification of evidence in a federal investigation. He's facing, this is Will Robinson writing, he's facing up to 20 years in prison per count. Here's what we know. During the height of the pandemic, while the American people were being told to trust the science and shut up, Morins was emailing colleagues, telling them to use his personal Gmail instead of his government email, because in his own words, the NIH email was being FOIA'd constantly. He then told them he had learned of the FOIA office how to make emails disappear after a request was filed, but before the search even started. He admitted to deleting records and moving them off government servers. Ooh, it's not the crime that gets you, it's the cover-up. Yes, Kenneth, I should grow some tobacco this year. Let's grow some tobacco. Tobacco. Unfortunately, I have an outbreak of screamapillars out there. They love chewing on the tobacco plants. The screamapillar. Trash Panda making a comment about Bobby saying it's hard to tell if RFK is getting choked up or not. I literally thought that on that. Maybe it was the first one that I played. He just had like a very particular guttural sound to it, but it was at an emotional moment too. It was sort of reminiscent of how during the president's White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting event, as the magician Oz or something revealed the trick, it was like in that moment of surprise where you could hear the shots being fired, like almost exactly overlapping at the same exact moment. So yeah, RFK was tough to tell if he was getting choked up. Like legitimately, I heard what you heard. I might have thought to say something, but I was in the middle of saying something else or listening or doing something else. But I thought that too. Will Robinson continues about this senior government official here facing 20 years in prison per count, Dr. David Morins. These were not random emails about office lunch plans. These were communications directly tied to NIH funding for bat coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology through EcoHealth Alliance, the exact organization and the exact lab at the center of the question that the entire world has been asking for 6 years, which is, where did this virus come from? The DOJ says Morins and unnamed co-conspirators deliberately concealed information and falsified records in an attempt to suppress alternative theories regarding the origins of COVID-19. I was censored and silenced for talking about the potentially intentional lab release. Don't call it a leak. I tell you this every year. I tell you this every show. Don't call it a leak. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I've been telling you over and over and over again. A potentially intentional lab release. Look what was done with the mail-in ballots. Look what was done. 81 million votes. Look what was done to change the course of a nation and send out butterfly effects that, like I told you, a year later, my brother was gone. And had the Biden regime not been sitting in that seat making those terrible decisions, who knows? So yeah, go get them. Indict every last one of these people. They've lied about it, and then they punished us for talking about it. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche called it a profound abuse of trust at a time when the American people needed it the most. Senator Ron Johnson, whose team first uncovered these emails more than 2 years ago, called this incredible and pointed out that his staff was dismissed and attacked for making this information public. Now it's a federal criminal case. I want you to sit with that for a second. While millions of Americans lost their jobs, their businesses, and their loved ones, a man sitting inside the NIH with direct access to Anthony Fauci was allegedly shredding the evidence that could have told us the truth about how this pandemic started. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a federal indictment. And the co-conspirators have not been named yet, which means this is likely just the beginning. His name is Will Robinson, and thank you for getting informed, he says. White people humor. Posted this, says, "Happy birthday, Mexicans." For Cinco de Mayo yesterday, White People Humor posted, "Happy birthday, Mexicans." The New American Media says, "LOL, it ain't like that." You know, happy unofficial birthday that it ain't like. Happy birthday, Mexicans. So stupid. So funny. The Pretty Patriot says, "Me at a Mexican restaurant, even though I want mass deportations." Pretty Patriot adds, "Hot take, but I think you can enjoy foreign cuisine and music without destroying your country's sovereignty." U.S. Marine says, "As a Mexican, I approve." All right, well, as long as you do. Beloved, me, a Mexican, very interested in mass deportations for lawbreakers. Cobra says, "Mass deportation doesn't mean kicking out Latinos. It means kicking out illegal immigrants." I don't know why both sides get it wrong. Exactly. Emperor says, nobody in Mexico celebrates Cinco de Mayo. Anyway. Marco Rubio, he's done every job imaginable. Now he's the press secretary.
Okay. Hello. Thank you guys for having me today. I'll be filling in for Caroline today, obviously. So I'll have a brief remarks here, and then we'll get to your.
Another job for Marco. Okay, Ronald Carter put this out. I want to break this thought down to you. Yeah. One of my favorite television characters of all time, aside from the Scream-a-Pillar, Dick Van Indict. No, that's Dick Van Dyke, actually. But pretty close. All right, let's take a listen to this. Ronald Carter said, "Nobody's telling you the real story about the SCOTUS voting rights ruling." So here's a take. Tell me if you agree or disagree with this. Yes, the court ruled 6-3. And by the way, the left has 3 radical political activists, not judges. They're activists on the court. Sotomayor, Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Activists on the court. They're the 3, by the way. Says, nobody's telling you the real story. Ronald Carter says this about the SCOTUS voting rights ruling. They ruled 6-3 in court. Yes, race-based districting is now unconstitutional. Yes, Louisiana's map just got thrown out. But here's the part everyone is missing. Democrats don't have a House majority without those court-ordered maps. A dozen of their current seats sit in districts that only exist because federal courts forced states to draw them. Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, every one has at least one Democrat seat in a court-created black majority district. Their House margin is 4 seats. SCOTUS just made 12 of their 213 seats legally redrawable. This is what the message was in Indiana yesterday. Republicans, MAGA, you must fight, redistrict, just like they do in the Northeast. They're doing it in California. They're doing it in Oregon. They're doing it in Virginia. They're doing it in the Northeast. That's the way the game is handled. Their way has been ruled illegal. So redraw the maps and do it now. Indiana said no. They were all fucking fired. You do what the side who's trying to destroy you is doing. Yes, let the hate flow through you. There are parameters in this football game. If there's a play that's legal, run the play. Yeah, but filibuster, we can't run that play. Does the rule book say you can do it? Well, yeah, but it'd be complicated. It would take time. Yeah, so do it. Run it. Go. It's mathematics. You can't speak more than twice in the same day, and you start the day, you end the day, you table it in, you table it out. It's mathematics. Every day, a couple more people are taking off the rolls, and at the end of 17 days, at the end of 30 days, whatever the math's out to be, depending on how long people talk, it's done, and you've passed it, just like the Democrats do to get all their shit done. Yeah, but we're better than that. If it's in the rule book, do it and save this nation. We are being dragged down. There's a swamp creature trying to take us into the muddy bog. Resist. Grow up. Fight back. Peacefully and patriotically, politically. Republican-led legislatures, oh, that's tough. Republican-led legislatures don't need new voters. They need a redistricting committee and a Tuesday afternoon. If race-based districts, that's another tough one. If race-based districts are unconstitutional, then Louisiana redraws. If Louisiana redraws, then Alabama redraws. If Alabama redraws, every southern state redraws. Every southern state redraws. The Democrat House majority was a 60-year courtroom artifact, not an election result. That's what nobody is saying out loud. The 2026 midterms were just decided 6-3, 6 months before Election Day. If you're not following, follow. John Solomon, Justice Department says it will enforce SCOTUS ruling in every state with racially gerrymandered districts. Wakened Outlaw says, man, the SCOTUS decision was amazing all by itself, but what with the DOJ going in hard as well? We're watching nothing short of the entire landscape of our elections go through a tectonic shift in real time and for the better. So to anyone who's getting frustrated, anyone who thinks we're not accomplishing anything, anyone thinks, I'm so out on Trump, I'm just voting Democrat. No, shut up. Stop it. Reject those people. Nick Fuentes has said that. I think Dave Smith has said that. I've met Dave. I've talked to Dave. I like Dave. That's just the wrong take. There's nothing I ideologically align with. Holy shit, that's tough to say. There's nothing I ideologically align with on the Democrat platform. But even on the bad Republicans, they do get some big important things right. And so even though there's massive things that I want to see happen, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening. It doesn't mean that there's zero victories. It doesn't mean that we're losing. It doesn't mean MAGA has failed. It doesn't mean Donald Trump is on the outs. It doesn't mean he's as unpopular as ever. It doesn't mean there's going to be a blue wave. Bullshit. Every metric is on the side of the red tsunami. Now you got to pass the Save America Act and make sure that there's no shenanigans. And you need to have poll watchers and 24/7 coverage, video surveillance, watching in real time, people in the room, people from outside, recording and watching. Oh, there's a water main break. I'm just going to pull out a whole bunch of boxes. Oh, are you? Well, it's too close to call. We're just going to keep collecting USPS ballots for, how many do we need? Okay, let's make sure we have 0.08% more above. That's about approximately 3,000, maybe 180,000. All we need is just a little bit. Give me exactly this number more, and we'll run them through the machine, and then we'll be done. Then we can just mix them all together, and they'll never find us. We don't know. We don't have any faith in our system right now. But it sure seems like things are now moving in the right direction. You're seeing victories. We're taking losses. As is life, it's hard to go undefeated. Even the best teams, I mean, the 72 Dolphins were the last team to go undefeated in the NFL. Almost had a chance with the Patriots and Randy Moss, I think. 2000, I don't know. Was that 7? I don't remember what year. But we're doing a lot of good things. So I want you to stay strong. I want you to not get too bummed out about this. But we got to keep going. This is so important, so important, so important. Court ordered. Yeah, food court ordered. Anyway, the courts are ordering. Is this the exact same story that I played a minute ago? I don't think so. I didn't see her on it. I don't know if it was zoomed in. Let's play. Ilhan Omar. Is she going to be the next to face an indictment? Oh, I'm here for it. I want to find out if she married her brother. I want to find out how much she's been stealing. I want to find out about how they've engaged in active treason against the United States, the great people of Minneapolis and Minnesota. And I want to see her indicted and charged. Military tribunal. What does it mean for a foreign agent to get in, weasel their way in, take over your city, take over your state in an effort to take over your country? What's that called? I think that's treason, high crimes and misdemeanors. Let's take a watch.
Squad Democrat Ilhan Omar closing in on a deadline set by Minnesota Republicans to turn over documents about potential ties to a state fraud ring after she dodged a hearing last month. Our senior correspondent Mike Tobin is reporting live out of Chicago. He's got the latest details for us. Hey, Mike.
And Sandra, that deadline is today for Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar to turn over documents and communication tied to defendants in that massive Feeding Our Future scandal. The Minnesota House Committee on Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight is holding its last meeting of the legislative session today. However, the committee does not have enough votes to subpoena the Congresswoman, so the committee doesn't have a legal mechanism to compel Omar to cooperate. The chair of the committee has sent Omar multiple invitations and requests for documents. Omar does not respond. Omar now sponsored the 2020 Meals Act, which removed the guardrails on COVID relief money and helped the fraud run up to $250 million. Despite that, the chair of the Fraud Prevention Committee does not anticipate the Minnesota congressman will respond by the deadline.
It shows her continued disdain for the taxpayers. She feels like she's above having to answer for her involvement in the fraud and her responsibility as a member of Congress who, she passed the bill that took the guardrails off the school nutrition program that led to the conditions that enabled Feeding Our Future.
Now, Amy Bach was convicted as the mastermind of the Feeding Our Future scandal. Defendants billed the government for meals that were never provided through existing restaurants and sham companies. Now, in Bach's trial, Omar's name appeared in an email chain with Bach. Trial evidence showed text communication with Bach and Omar. Trial evidence also showed Bach exchanged emails with one of the defendants who fled the country. The title of that email chain was Ilhan's Office. Now, back in January, our Alexis McAdams interviewed Amy Bach. She said she never spoke directly with Representative Omar, only people in her office. And the conversation, she said, were never substantive. Sandra, back to you.
Got it. Squad Democrat Ilhan Omar closing in on a deadline set by Minnesota Republicans to turn over documents about potential ties to a state.
I can't sit and listen to the whole report again. Oh, I really need to hear the whole thing. That the talks were not substantive. Of course, because you're talking to Ilhan Omar. She's borderline simple. What did we talk about?
State fraud ring.
Okay, stay tuned. How long from now is it going to take to get the indictment against Ilhan Omar? Speaking of indictments, I covered some of this case. I left some of it as it is without getting too into it for obvious reasons. But here we are. And the FedEx killer. Colin Rugg says FedEx driver who pled guilty to kidnapping and emming a 7-year-old Athena Strand, sentenced to death. Tanner Horner snatched Athena while he was delivering a Barbie doll to her home. Imagine being the one that placed the order for the Barbie that led to your kid being... This guy has ruined this family, you damn monster. And you did it in a truck with a camera in it? Is this real? This is just out of a horror movie. This is just so stupid. At one point during the trial, jurors broke down in tears hearing the audio of Horner K-ing Athena after he told her to take off her shirt and say she was really pretty. Athena repeatedly asked for her mother before she was K'd. The judge had this to say yesterday after the jury rendered their verdict.
If you'd stand, please. It's the order of the court that you, Tanner Lynn Horner, has been adjudged to be guilty of the offense of capital murder as found by the jury. Jury having answered the special issues making it mandatory that your punishment be death, it is therefore the order of this court that your punishment be death. Before the hour of sunrise on a date to be determined by this court, upon a mandate of affirmance issued by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals at the State Penitentiary in Huntsville, Texas, you will be caused to die in accordance with the rules and regulations established by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice until you, said Tanner Horner, are dead. Said execution procedure shall be determined and supervised by the Director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. The clerk of this court shall issue a death warrant in accordance with this sentence directed to the Director of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for that purpose. Clerk shall deliver such warrant to the Sheriff of this county and to be by him delivered to the Director of the Department of Criminal Justice together with you.
Anyway, you get it. She repeatedly asked for her mother. Several moments where she says no and asks for her mom. Followed by repeated sounds of crying, screaming, and banging, NBC reported last month. 3 hours of deliberation, sentenced to death by lethal injection. People are saying, just let him loose in general population. Marion says there's a special place in hell for him. Kenneth calls him a creep like Leon, remembers the movie Fargo. Oh, also saying, what would happen to a normal person doing what Ilhan Omar did? We all know what would happen. Exactly. So can we just make the death penalty great again? Now go after Irina Zarutska's monster. Hang him right there on the train line where she took his life. Do it in public. I got her. I got that white girl. I got her. I got that white girl. Special place in hell for guys that kill young women. So that's why pencils have erasers. And that is just a rough story. Big story. It's in the headline. I don't want to dwell on it too much, and I hate even talking about it, but now you heard it. Now we can move on from it, and I just encourage more death penalty cases. We have got to send a message to the crazies and the demons that, you know, there's stuff we tolerate. The cruel and unusual stuff is not allowable, and that just goes for just normal crime. It's cruel and unusual to impose yourself on somebody else in a criminal way. Straight up. Secretary Marco Rubio, filling in for Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt while she's on maternity leave, lays out the reality of gas prices if Iran had a nuclear weapon.
A gallon or $8 a gallon, we wouldn't be able to do anything about it because they have a nuclear weapon. And a nuclear-armed Iran could do whatever the hell they want with the Straits, and there's nothing anyone would be able to do about it. And that's one of the many reasons, apart from like the massive loss of life in a nuclear strike, why Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. I mean, so this is an example of, if they had a nuclear weapon, they closed the straits and they would tell the world, what are you going to do about it? We have a nuclear weapon, we can attack you with it. That's the world none of us want to leave behind. It won't happen under this president's watch, but some future president and future, you know, and the future Americans will have to deal with this. So it's just one more example of why these guys can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. $8 a gallon or $8 a gallon.
The reason why you never let Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden, his third term, never let these people back in power. Kamala Harris would have been his fourth term, both puppets. No more Democrats anywhere ever. Oh, what's this? Today years old, I'm not following this, but I will, put out a reportedly deleted JetBlue tweet just confirmed what everyone suspected about airline ticket prices. Did you see this? Not sure if this is true, but they're reporting this. Nug says, I love flying at JetBlue, but a $230 increase on a ticket after one day is crazy. Crying. I'm just trying to make it to a funeral. JetBlue says, try clearing your cache and cookies or booking with an incognito window. We're sorry for your loss. Avi Lewis says, is that a major American airline admitting to surveillance pricing? They squeeze you knowing you looked before, and they're going to make you have worry that it might go up, and now it did go up, and you better hurry up and get it now before it doubles again. Oh, that shit is just, that's atrocious. I'm all for selling things and market value. That is atrocious. Literally, this guy's like, I'm just trying to go to a funeral, man. And it's like, yeah, you got to do it in an incognito window or clear your cache because they're tracking you. If you came here yesterday, we know that you really, really need to go. Highway robbery. Yeah, we can charge you $7 for this can of Coke, can of Pepsi. Where else are you going to get it? We're the only game in town. $7. That stuff's gross. Avi says the federal government needs to ban this before it becomes normalized in Canada. Yeah. Did they just admit to surveillance pricing? They did. Post was then deleted by the post author. That's the claim. I'm going to look into that. Do you know anything about that? Speaking of something you might not know a lot about. Speaking about something you might not know a lot about. Bublik here says, walk. Remember the Pokemon Go craze? Well, might have been about something a little different. Walk around your city catching Pokemon. The game asks you to scan a fountain. Sure, why not? 30 billion scans later. Niantic owns a more detailed map than any government. Sells the game for $3.5 billion. Spins off a spatial AI company. Your Pokewalk is now classified infrastructure. Delivery robots now navigate using your walks. You were never the player, you were the product. Workers in a garment factory wearing head-mounted cameras while performing routine tasks, raising questions about their purpose. Whew, boy. Asmongold, he watches Marco Rubio in this press briefing, and he's pretty impressed.
Lebanese armed forces and a Lebanese government, not just with the willingness, but with the capability to begin to challenge Hezbollah and disarm them. Because the Lebanese people are also victims of Hezbollah.
Oh, thank God.
And by the way, on the topic of Hezbollah in Lebanon, who is behind Hezbollah? Why do they exist? They're an agent of Iran. If you go through that Middle East and you identify every problem, Hamas, Hezbollah, to some extent the Houthis, obviously, and others, behind every one of these groups is Tehran. Lebanese armed forces and a Lebanese government, not just with the willingness, but with the capability.
I mean, the disruption to that network and the instability and the violence that they were causing, you can argue it wasn't our problem, and I can respect that. But there's a lot of reason to be feeling positive about the removal of that regime. Google knows my shame. I know. They know all of our shame. Patriot Warrior Texas in Rumble says, President Trump, sir, in the beginning of the Paxton and Cornyn race, you said you would tell one of them to drop out and endorse the other. Now is the time to endorse Paxton and tell backstabbing Rhino to drop out of the race. He's not MAGA or for the people. Oh, yeah, Bub. Buckle up, Buttercup. B-U-B. It's a nice pointing that out. All right, Bub. Shiloh Marks put this out. Says Governor Bob Ferguson, Democrat Washington, won by 433,550 votes back in 2024. By the way, did you know Washington processed 473,192 new valid registrations between 22 and 24? Now, these 473,000, the applications did not require proof of citizenship. Did he legitimately win? He's arguably the worst governor, says Gentry Gevers. Horrible politics, great place. Something to think about. How could you accept an application that doesn't prove who you are and that you're a citizen? That's nuts. Benny Johnson calls it a bloodbath in Indiana. Here we go. Weak Republican Indiana state senators who refuse to redistrict are dropping like flies. Trump-endorsed candidates winning in landslides. Yeah, that's proposed boundaries would wipe away some of that blue. There's a toss-up. And maybe there's one loss. Maybe it's 7-2 or 5-2, 6-2. President Trump is out here with middle schoolers. Visiting the White House, asking Trump if he could hit the Trump dance with him. Truly a man of the people. I mean, you know, that's kind of fun. Nick Fuentes admits that he is a Democrat, that he's controlled opposition, and he was all along.
I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border. I'm a non-woke moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed. I think the corrupt criminal government of Trump needs to be slowed down. We need to impeach the orange. It's time to put this nigga in a peach. Trump needs to be placed inside of a crystal. He needs to be impeached. This fat orange tiny hands needs to be impeached. And then in 28, no Vance, no Rubio. We have to burn down the whole party. I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border. I'm a non-woke moderate Democrat. I think.
So if you've been under the impression that this person is a MAGA member, I shared a video yesterday about calling Nazis and whites Nazis and something right wing. I think it was Margaret Hageman. She goes, first off, this is not far right. That's far left. It's got the word socialist in there like that. This is not the far right. You don't lump this on our team. That's not our team. This guy is not MAGA. He just explained what he is in his words. And this sounds very similar to what you heard out of the person who ran up against Vivek Ramaswamy and pulled 13%. Putsch, Casey Putsch, will not be endorsing the Republican and will be actively supporting the opposition. Okay, so that's how close you added to a wolf in sheep's clothing, letting you inside the front door. Imagine how often this is happening in the Democrat Party. Do you have anybody in the Democrats holding them accountable for common sense stuff? Like, are you going to lock up the dirtbags? Are you going to stop stealing our money? But everybody they put out there, they're all wolves in sheep's clothing. Non-woke Democrat, he claims.
The GOP needs to be destroyed.
He's trying to destroy the GOP.
I think the corrupt criminal government of Trump needs to be.
You got it. You heard what he said. I'm not going to play that one part twice.
I can't believe.
Oh, Katie Porter, who allegedly dumped boiling mashed potatoes on her ex-husband. was caught berating her employees on Zoom and bullying reporters, is now lecturing others about, well, check this out.
Believe that on a
I can't believe that I'm
stage with 30 minutes of interrupting and bickering and name calling and shouting and disrespect for everyone up here who's stepping into public service, that anyone wants to talk about my temperament.
Yeah, you're prone to flying off the handles. I'm performative. I deliver a show. All right, I'm curious to the people, the commenters. By the way, everybody hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit the share button. Subscribe, follow the show. Consider dropping us a monthly subscription on Patreon or Rumble or YouTube, and drop a Rumble rant or a super chat tip. If you're having a good time here, I'm performing songs on the street corner. If you like it, toss something into my open guitar case. What brings you back to this bar? What brings you back? Is it... Because I'm trying to think about the things that we provide. We do a lot of research. We've collated a vast network of resources to scan, sift, filter, and deliver pertinent, timely, interesting, thought-provoking stories. There's a lot of the selection process. That's something we provide, is really just trying to sift through the noise and finding the issues worth talking about. Another thing would be entertainment value. One would be community with the regulars, because you're all regulars. Humor, entertainment. I am performative. Free virtual beer for me. All right, you can go right back around there, but be careful. Wait, Barney sucked that one dry. He cut his gums up real good, too. That was Mo Sizlak on The Simpsons. Yeah, I'm performative. Because I think being entertaining is a part of the story. It's a part of the reason why people show up. But yeah, Katie Porter, she has outbursts because she's petulant. And I've had plenty of outbursts in my life, and I recognize it. Game recognized game. It's not the best look. It just kind of speaks to a general vibe and temperament. Doesn't tell all the story, but it tells part of the story.
You were actually interrupting them too. I don't know why you want to act like you weren't.
Oh, cowboy
Steve
up,
and
cupcake.
Steve and I sat here.
Oh, cowboy up. What?
Smiling at each other because we're just watching you all prove to everyone why they can't vote for a Democrat.
Exactly.
Exactly. Looks like those two are going to team up if they have to. Maybe not. Who knows? Lake Leon appreciates the knowledge and the wit and the fairness. All right, so you find my delivery of the news to be fair. I think out of all the things, like it's fun to have Riz. It's nice to be entertaining. It's awesome to make someone have a spit take. I think Dina said yesterday, like, I brought something that almost caused her to spit her coffee onto her computer. It was that funny. I love making people laugh. It's one of the best feelings ever. But I think fairness. I'm very honest with who I am and what I believe in. And I try to be fair. I try to be fair. That might be my favorite part of that. But yeah, I got the knowledge I got. And I'm trying to get better every day. And being witty is just fun. That's part of humor, and that's part of keeping it moving. David comes in from Canada. He's got the longest commute. He says, what brings me back to the bar is that there are amazing people and conversations going on every day. Yeah, man. I like that. Thank you. That's what we're aiming for. That's the game plan. Too many crazies around us, too many head in the sand, ignorance is bliss, apathetic NPCs around us. We're here because we're activated. We're here trying to figure out what do we need to do? What should we pay attention to? What should we be ready for? Different ways to think, trying to understand and comprehend and look at these stories from unique enough angles so that we're sort of getting it, getting the big picture. Yeah, amazing people here and amazing conversations here at the bar at the New American Media. Cheers to you for that. Kenneth is here. He loves making me laugh. Back at you. It's all about the laughs, you know? Just getting on stage to start performing stand-up comedy. Wow. Whew. I've thought my whole life about doing it, and I am fascinated by it. I can't wait to get on for my next set. It is fun. So yeah, anytime to crack jokes. I would really like to get into a phase where find a way that we could get enough jokes written where I could come out and do a monologue. I could do like 8 minutes off the top with like 30-second pre-written jokes about the news, about the stories that we're going to cover. I'm not there yet, but I'd like to figure out how to do that. I'd love to turn this into a little bit more of a comedy show. Dave says, and yes, you, Brian, make the show move. Yeah, every song has a drum beat to it. And that's kind of got to crush it through. Marion says, question of the day. You're informative, funny, honest, bring interesting stories, share our views. And then she just says, I'm just eye candy. Thanks, Marion. Appreciate that. Katie Porter, more like Katie Disorder. Yeah. I'm so pulling for California. Thank you for the answers to the questions, everybody. But yeah, I'm performative. I don't know. Katie, she seems to lack regulation control. And if you're going to throw scalding potatoes, I think Crowder said it was like throwing napalm. Like, you just think if that's slapped and stuck to it wasn't just like a hot frying or a hot tin pan or something. Like it had one thing and then it was gone, but like this stuck and stayed. Someone's throwing scalding food at you. This is abusive. Like, this lady has a pretty solid abusive history to the people that work for her, multiple restraining orders. I think it's a counter restraining order against each other. You don't want her running California, and I'm rooting for California.
I can't believe.
Yeah, we can. We can believe it. Dan Bongino says that he planted fake information to catch snakes. Keith RDEGITZ posted this. Says according to Keith, I don't know who this is, says he spread false information to expose the snakes around him. Let me see if that's let me do a search for Bongino. Expose snakes. Derek Evans reported this. Bongino used fake info to catch snakes. Intentionally spreading false details inside the FBI to catch who was leaking to the media. It's the oldest game in the book. Yes, Kenneth, you could help. We just need to figure out, like, let's watch an episode of Bill Maher online. Model it after something successful. I don't know. Is it 7-minute opening intro? And then we go through the news and tell a few jokes. Let's watch Jimmy Kimmel to make sure we don't do it that way. Unfunny is the biggest crime, but obviously it's Trump derangement syndrome. So yeah, people are saying Bongino was doing this intentionally to start messing with people, offering innocuous details about his whereabouts and schedule to flush out the supposed leakers. I would expect that. And we wondered, is that what Elon Musk did with the files? Remember when he said, Trump's in there? And he tossed a smoke grenade down the hallway and he just ran. You pulled the fire alarm and you ran. You ran, not I ran. Speaking of ran, Nick Shirley ran away from Cuba.
Long story short, we had Cuban intelligence following us all around in our one day here in Cuba, and now we have made it out. We're heading to the airport right now. If this video gets posted, it means that we made it back to the United States.
Headed to the airport. Video will be eye-opening for the world. Point of view, escaping Cuba on an electric tricycle taxi at 5 a.m. So check that out when he gets back. All right. Let's bounce over here to the new American media on X. We're at American_media_. Marion also adds yes. And don't forget, Kenneth keeps us all laughing. Yeah, don't sell John out. John's pretty funny. We're all funny. We all I think we've learned that what we want here is a couple of jokes. You know, some serious venting. That like it's therapy to talk this stuff through. We say legitimate, serious things. We tell funny jokes. We ask questions. We research. Yeah, Johnny Carson was great, says Lake Leon. Ken says Jay was good too. Yeah, I got to see Jay right at the end there when I was living in LA. I saw that with Blue October, the musical guest. Marion says, Nick Shirley, be careful, dude. Agreed. Even though I have some serious questions about his rise to prominence and who's really bankrolling him and to what means it's all happening. I see him doing some good work that I'm appreciative of, but I do have some open questions, just like Vivek. We're allowed to have open questions. Open gripes and concerns like Trump. Hey, why aren't you leaning on the Department of Justice to get Fauci indicted? Hurry up. All right. Once again, follow us on X at American_media_. Consider subscribing on Patreon at the New American Media, Rumble, YouTube. Hit the subscribe monthly button. You can drop $5 or $10 or what different amounts and just say every 30 days, we're going to give you a little something. Set it and forget it. You know, support something good and just, all right, we got that going in the background and it's huge. As well as Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, donation links scrolling at the bottom of the screen. That is the way that we fill up the gas tank to keep this car on the road, let alone the oil changes and the transmission and the brakes and the wheel alignments and the new windshield wipers. Just like everything has like a regular maintenance cost. So thank you everybody who participates. But the Patreon link is pinned right here at the top of our X account, right there. All right, so this lady plays full victim after getting fired for her vile video about the Trump assassination attempt. She says it was just a joke. I don't condone violence. And then there's a mysterious doxing letter complete with a picture of her house and a karma's coming with a smiley face note. She's reaping the consequences, reporting it to authorities and begging everyone to let her move on with her life. Here's the thing. You don't get to post disgusting comments wishing harm on the president, watch it blow up, lose your job, then demand a clean slate while still downplaying it as stupid and blaming the far right for sharing what you put out there. The letter, real or not, is exactly the kind of blowback you invited, and it perfectly fits the victimhood narrative you're milking for another video, says domestic documenting libs. You regret the consequences, not the comments. You still won't take real responsibility. There is no moving on free pass here. These are the consequences of what you did. Own it. That's a well-written piece, so I'm not going to play 2.5 minutes of this, but you get it. Says, I made a stupid video about the president. The far right found it and posted it on Twitter and then got me fired from my job.
Got me fired from my job.
There you go. Yeah, here's this FedEx monster. Just even looking at this to know what happens in a matter of moments is just, wow. Matt Walsh, though, says, I am challenging any death penalty opponent, there are millions of them, allegedly, to step up to the plate right now and explain why this guy should not be executed. His guilt is established beyond any doubt whatsoever. His crime is utterly savage and heinous. Then tell us why he doesn't deserve to die. Go ahead. And I think we should repeatedly tell this story and ask this question and use this as the case. Check out yesterday's show, MAGA on the ballot today. Trump-endorsed candidates face off in Indiana and Ohio. Fox News says President Trump announced on Tuesday that Project Freedom, the operation in which the U.S. military would guide commercial vessels out of the Strait of Hormuz, would be paused for a short period of time. The president said the blockade would remain in full force. RPP says you actually missed quite a few more. They're saying to everyone in the Hoosier state of Indiana, here are the endorsements for Indiana from the greatest president ever in this country, Donald Trump. It says you missed quite a few people. Almost every single one of these Trump endorsements won their race as well. Laughing at Marjorie Taylor Greene, who thinks MAGA is dead. Don't think so. Don't think that's the case. Can appreciate some of the work Marjorie Taylor Greene has done, but once again, if you're trying to give the Democrats a chance to conquer this country, you're not on my team. You're just not. Kenneth reminds us that he has our TNAM merch on a perch. If anyone wants merch, let him know. Make a $40 donation through Venmo. We'll get this mailed out to you, the New American Media mug, black and white and red all over. You want some coasters? $30 for a set of 4. They're wooden. They're Ohio made. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Ohio shape or circle shape. And $25 for a pin. So it's $30 for a set of 4. We'll do 2 for $50, shipping included. Or $25 for a pin, $40 for a mug. If you want one, let me know. Shoot me a Venmo along with your address. Tell me what you want, and I'll get that merch mailed out to you. Thanks for that merch on a perch. Yeah, kind of saying that guy's sentence, that FedEx driver will probably draw out for years. Yeah, there needs to be a on with it kind of thing. Let's get on with it. There are some cases that rely maybe more heavily on speculation or hearsay or some unverifiable report or a witness, maybe it was accurate, I don't know, versus forensic and video. And it's like Irina Zarutska, FedEx driver. There is no open question of, I wonder, did he really do it? We don't want to execute anybody innocently. Irina Zarutska, we have everything we need. Right there. This shouldn't drag out 20 years. Agreed. Don't make this drag out. But yeah, to the people saying MAGA's dead, no, it's not. Derp stated, says, are you paying attention? Leader Thune, nuke the filibuster, pass the Save America Act, and all the rest of the bills that you RINOs are sitting on. Or FAFO, America is over your BS. I concur. Here's some of the analysis about the primary races on.
But what you also see.
MS Now.
And you mentioned it earlier, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. These are 5 districts where 5 Republican Senate incumbents in Indiana were all defeated tonight. And they weren't just defeated, they were defeated in landslides. All of them voting against the president in his wishes to have that congressional map redrawn in advance of 2026. You're talking about margins of between 20 and 30 points right there. There is one who survived down here in this district earlier. And like I said, and there's also, I should add, on our map here, you don't quite see it for some technical reasons. There was actually a bit unexpectedly in this district right here, another Republican incumbent who voted against that plan. Trump stayed out of the race for some reason, but it seems like the voters there understood it as a referendum on that redistricting because the incumbent Republican senator in this district is trailing right now, and there aren't many votes left to be counted there. So it still may be that at the end of the night, up to 7 Republican state senators in Indiana are taken out in this primary after voting against the president and his wish for redistricting.
Let me ask Grok just for some updated math. How many Indiana and Ohio reps lost as incumbents versus those who retained? As for them, how many are MAGA versus establishment? I wonder if Grok can answer a question like this. Might take 30 seconds. It might spit something out in 2 seconds. Thinking about my request. It's taking its sweet time. Hit like, hit subscribe, by the way. Okay, it's still thinking. But there you have it. 26 Trump-endorsed candidates won their primaries, according to this Tony account. No Indiana incumbents. Hang on. It's throwing all these sentences at me, putting the answer together. AI, gotta love it. There we go. Wow, it's still thinking. Benny Johnson said, I would like to publicly endorse Scott Pressler for chairman of the RNC, Tyler Boyer as co-chair. No one cares more about Republican-based strategy on a grassroots level than these two. It would mean Republican majorities for the next 50 years. Time to do what must be done. I like that. Do you agree with Benny Johnson? Or do you disagree? No, wait a minute. 0 incumbents lost their primaries? All incumbents retained their nomination? The Republican incumbents who retain their seats are now considered MAGA, Trump-aligned, or America First in the current GOP. No major establishment versus MAGA upsets in the House races. Trump-backed challengers defeated 5 of the 7 targeted incumbents. Who are the 2 incumbents who survived? By how small a margin, and why did they? Come on, Grok, you're taking too long. Greg Good, District 38, solid win, 53-36. Trump-backed challenger was Brenda Wilson. Oh, there was a third candidate for 10%, so that would have made it. Strong local support in the Terre Haute area. Better name recognition, ran a more effective ground campaign despite the Trump endorsement against him. Spencer Deary, extremely narrow, won by just 3 votes. I'm sorry, what? Spencer Deary, District 23. Came down to a handful of ballots in a very tight race, had some residual local loyalty. West Lafayette area, despite the Trump-backed challenge. Okay, now you know. Paula Copenhaver, 3 votes. So all of your votes matter. Remember that. Cynical Publius says, too many MAGA people moan about what they are not seeing done while ignoring the incredible wealth of good news in their midst. I'll give you just one example. Did you know the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division created a Second Amendment section designed to protect the Second Amendment rights of all Americans? Did you know the Second Amendment section recently sued the city of Denver for its unconstitutional ban on modern sporting rifles? By the way, did anyone get a time on the opening intro when I did a simultaneous sip? I think I got it under 5 seconds. If it was 11 at first, I think I got it under 5 seconds. So the Second Amendment section recently sued Denver for unconstitutional ban on modern sporting rifles. Do you know the Second Amendment section has a link where you can report attacks on your own Second Amendment rights? I'll include the link in the post below. Did you know it's all coming up roses and it's still not good enough for some? Not me, though. I'm full of positive waves. says Cynical Publius. It's a good follow on X. Eyal Jacoby, Olia filmed this, Scootercaster, on Freedom News TV. Hundreds of masked Islamists attempting to break through NYPD barricade as they assault police officers and call for acts of terrorism. Our country cannot tolerate this. Enough is enough. When will the National Guard close off this street, close off this street, close off this street, close off this street, and arrest the entire group? The paddy wagons, the domestic terrorists. When? And I was in the middle of this shit in Chicago, man. I had a technical glitch on the camera, man. I got some really interesting footage that you'll never see. Technical glitch might have been user error. I was never provided a button that said, do you want to delete this file? I never pressed anything like that. I looked for the file. It didn't exist. Maybe it was a mistake, but man, I was in the middle of like that pro-Hamas rally in Chicago. You got an invading army inside. You got them peppered throughout the country, and somebody's shooting text messages and coordinating this stuff. So you better have a plan. So that's happening. Allegedly, according to Eyal Jacoby. Benny Johnson says Trump won Indiana by 20 points. Republicans control 70% of the Indiana House and 80% of the Indiana Senate. When GOP voters demanded fair maps, Indiana Republicans betrayed them and then laughed in Trump's face. They denied you respect and common decency and courtesy and civility. And then they laughed in his face. And tonight they all got fired. Lesson to the GOP, play to win or go home. Play to win or go home. So we shall see how it's going to play out now against the Democrats in the actual election in a few months. Thousands of residents show up to oppose a proposed data center in Box Elder County, Utah. Public officials didn't like this, so they left the room.
Left the stage.
Enough!
And went into a separate room because the crowds got so noisy.
They were denied having access to public comment.
The rest of the meeting was held via video stream from a different room, but projected to the audience. This massive AI-focused data center campus is highly controversial. It would be nearly 40,000 acres in rural Box Elder County, generating and consuming up to 9.
I'm sorry, did you say 40,000 acres? Holy shit. I don't know if these are a good idea.
Gigawatts of electricity. Many are concerned about water.
And by the way, they should all have their own water source. They should have to handle their own water situation, be a self-sufficient. You shouldn't be attached to a local infrastructure. You got to create your own infrastructure. Build yourself a dam, a reservoir, pay to have it filled up. Recycle and reuse that water. Figure it out. What'd they say? 40,000, 400,000? How big was that? It was too big. And you need to have like Gen 3, Gen 4 nuclear. Not tapping into the local electric grid, screwing things up, messing up water pressure. You need to be creating your own energy. Self-sufficient.
Use greenhouse gas emissions and possible impacts to the Great Salt Lake.
We're not going to have enough water for the Great Salt Lake.
Supporters, including Governor Cox, say the project would create thousands of jobs, boost tax revenue, and help strengthen AI infrastructure in the U.S.
Yeah. It's a big debate. MJ Truth Ultra says, Plandemic alert. NIH virologist Vincent Munster caught smuggling deadly pathogens into the U.S. and the FBI is investigating. Stopped at a U.S. airport coming back from Congo. Protective case in the luggage. Patient collected pathogen samples, including monkeypox virus. They lack the required federal transport paperwork. Samples may have been inactivated, but it's not publicly confirmed. Placed on administrative leave, both scientists. HHS contract info was removed. FBI investigating, declining to comment. Religious leaders told, prepare now for UFO disclosure to unleash Bible-challenging revelations. X-Freeze says, most people misunderstand Elon Musk's ultimate goal. He is trying to make our entire civilization win. To view it as anything less is just short-sighted. Elon winning means humanity winning. I really appreciate his work on Grok, on X. I like having a platform that pushes back. I like that he sort of seems to get a lot of the big picture issues. Am I reluctant? Am I calling him God status? Am I concerned about might there be more at play? I mean, why not offer a free and open social media, and then you get to understand everybody's brains, and then you get Neuralink and you get to jump right into these brains. I mean, maybe you could flip and make X as totalitarian as Twitter was and censor all the bad guys. Who knows? But yeah, on a large enough arc, it sort of feels like they're directionally accurate on that. So yeah, those are the stories I wanted to share with you today. Thanks for being here on the TNAM Daily Show. Hit the thumbs up button, hit like, hit subscribe. I know I'm leaving some stories on the chopping room floor. I know that I am. But that is where we're going to leave it for today. Nope, I have one more. This one connects the dots with my concern about Vivek Ramaswamy and these data centers. And anybody talking about this, this is purported to be, well, let's just watch this report here. Matrix Mystery says this is Mark Zuckerberg building a massive data center in Georgia. So More Perfect is the name of this. I don't know who put this up, but let's watch.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen.
No water pressure.
This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just
data center sediment. Data center sediment. Data center sediment. Cut this out. Clip this together with the other words I asked Harry Mack to freestyle to. Data center sentiment. That's a fun phrase.
from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah, and this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably $20,000, and that's not counting any of the
All the
faucets.
replacement
Yeah.
of the fixtures and
That's
faucets
just
and
the well.
toilets and the lines that come underneath the house. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate. There's nothing that you can do.
It's just like an invading army comes in and they just take over the whole area, and like your whole water situation is wrecked after that. These places should have to provide their own water. They should require any data center to be near a body of water, and they must get their water and filter the water and check the water on a daily. If you're going to do something big, you need to have this stuff handled. Power generation and water consumption and reclamation and cleanliness of anything that you're sending out, it needs to be at the center of any of these. And it's just, there's enough reason to be uncomfortable with this.
And they don't care.
They don't.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility. Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
Data centers, going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok.
We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
These are just happening. These are like microchips being installed, plugged into the computer grid of America right now.
But data centers come with big costs, from light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts, to the potential rising costs of energy bills. These facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made, Amazon, Microsoft. They can afford to pay for their own generation.
We came to
You have to have your own generation.
Georgia to ask two questions. What's the true cost of the AI revolution, and who should be paying for it?
Your house is here, and the data center is right there.
It's less than 400 yards.
Oh my gosh, you were right up against.
Beverly and Jeff Morris bought their home an hour's drive from downtown Atlanta in 2016.
You did not move there so that this could happen.
But their roots in the community run much deeper.
Being in the country has always just been my peace and my therapy. When we found this place, we decided that this was it. It was.
And then all that was ruined. Anyway, you get it. Like, these are the types of ramifications if you let this happen. David says it's like a scripted movie. Like it's been said, you can't tell the people, you just have to show them. Marion says, Scott Pressler, yes, run the RNC, but I don't know about Tyler Boyer. I have reservations about him. Lake Leon says 10.2 my second time. That was 10.2. Thanks for checking. Scanning the comments. I guess I fell behind on the comments. Now, if we're talking about shape-shifting, I'm telling you, this stuff is coming out. Reptilian, underwater bases, ancient, extraterrestrial. It's coming. Shape-shifting brought to you by Ozempic. Then you show a side-by-side of Olivia Wilde before and after. Oh, Marion has problems with data centers infiltrating that area of Texas, too. David says Elon is definitely leaving a legacy. Oh, wow. I fell way behind because I was going to stop, but then I realized we had this data center story, and this was kind of working in one of the big concerns about Vivek Ramaswamy and some of these other stories. Yeah, Elon is definitely leaving a legacy, David. Oh, and Kenneth, thank you so much. Appreciate that super chat. The super chat heard around the world. Ka-chow. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. They're eating the dogs. The data centers, they said, sir, they're drinking the water. They said, like, all the water going to the data centers. Nothing, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. They're drinking the water. No, but I agree with that. I sort of kind of led with that they should build their own reservoir, get their own water, whatever that process looks like. But the water that's used, shouldn't you be recapturing and recycling, like reusing? It goes up, it's burned off as steam. You capture the steam rolls down. It's like how you make bourbon, the distillation process. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Maybe not go put a straw into Lake Havasu, but dig out a hole and collect your own rainwater. Figure out how to collect everything that lands there, and don't be a burden. You know, it comes down to don't be an asshole. Don't be a burden on your neighbors in your community. Lakes are for fishing, swimming, recreation. We don't want contamination. Yeah, I agree. They should dig down far enough to get a deep enough structural reservoir that can gather what they need and keep it on site. Where if things went sideways, they could have additional water to supply others They're not going to be a drain on current resources. Marion says, same with power. They can't go 1 second without electricity, and homes can't be out with electricity for days at a time. I know. I've had encounters with that over the past year or two. Several years, several times out of power. Not bueno. Yeah, they should have, what is it, core 3, core 3rd generation or 4th generation nuclear. There's like zero risk of a meltdown. Build your own power plant on site and have your own reservoir. Otherwise, no dice. We're not doing this here. Don't be a drain. Be a blessing. And maybe be connected to the grid where you could send excess energy back to the city if they needed it. But not so you can take it. Is there radiation coming from the data centers? Great question. So that kind of encapsulates one of the major concerns against Vivek Ramaswamy, and it's fine. Like I said, we can all think a candidate might not be ideal. We can all think whatever. But end of the day, we got to take out the worst possible option. And the people like Casey Putch going up against Vivek, who are encouraging people to vote Democrat and destroy the Republican Party, that's not a Republican. That's not a MAGA member. That's not the right. That's not right-leaning. That's something else. Let it go where it goes. Nick Fuentes, he called himself a Democrat and wants to burn down the Republican Party. That's not a Republican. That person goes where he goes. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, I guess Massey's like the closest one to like, really? Can we? Yeah, but Massey. We're allowed to have disagreements, and it's okay if nobody, it's okay if people don't get 100% of things accurate every time. It's okay. But you got to take out the worst opponents, and those are the Democrats in every race. Almost every single race. Step 1, defeat the Democrats. Step 2, we'll deal with that when we get there. Step 1, take out the Democrats, okay? Politically, peacefully, patriotically, of course. David says, in my opinion, they need to limit the size of those data centers. Yeah, and what if you build them, you're required to do like green roofing? There's ways to design where you could put scaffolding and do like an exoskeleton bridge above the building so it's not so disgusting looking, like a microchip right on the. Now, obviously, if you want to have some solar, you'll put some solar in different places, but why not have green? Why not have nature and trees and grass and foliage and water and little river running through? If you're going to design something, why not design it to be as minimally impactful as possible? And definitely not above ground. If it's going to hum and make noises and it's so loud, like everybody around them is losing their sanity, you got to go underground. Like, this is just planning. This is not ridiculous. It's just don't be an asshole. We get it. You got to build. You might have to dynamite some stuff. You might have to have heavy machinery. It's going to be, okay, we get it. That'll be a temporary thing, but like, go underground if you're going to be too loud. If you're not going to have enough water, you got to build a reservoir. You're not going to have enough energy, you got to build a 3rd generation nuclear plant. And you can, those can be really small, by the way, really small. So yeah, problem is local government can't tell a landowner not to sell their property to a data center. You could probably use eminent domain in reverse to block a sale for the public good. Has that ever been attempted? I don't know. I'm not Aaron Brockovich. It's not exactly her forte. I'm not exactly Mark Garagos. Not exactly his forte. But you get what I'm saying. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, thank you all for being here on today's TNAM Daily Show. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. I've been Brian, your bartender. Thanks for hanging out here at the New American Media and the TNAM Daily Show. Closing out my shift, so I'm just taking the liberty of running your credit card tab, slide it across to you here on the bar. Your total is 0, but you do have a tip line if you wanted to toss something in Venmo or Cash App. It's just my name, Brian Engelman. You want to do something through PayPal? It's fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com is the email address associated with that PayPal. Patreon, YouTube, and Rumble. You can sign up for a monthly subscription. And you can also do a Rumble rant tip and a super chat tip if you enjoyed your time today. Here's your credit card tab for your time today. $0, but there's a tip line on there and it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. One of the biggest tips you could give is by sharing the show on other social media, be it Facebook or Instagram or text messages, X, different platforms, TikTok, however you want to share the show, share it to your friends. Grab a copy and text it out. Grab the code and say, like, hey, check this out. Word of mouth, grow the show. And if you're new to our proceedings, you could check out, I don't know, roughly 2,100 videos over the past 15 years. Got a pretty interesting track record. And stay tuned. I do mean it. I wrote it down. New show intro. I think I could spend a moderate amount of time and get you an updated version that I would deem to be vastly superior. And maybe still not comprehensive. But I can see it, and I think I know how to do it now. So stay tuned for that. Kenneth says, buy silver and buy also, as in goodbye. Buy then, not Joe Biden. Yes, Mary, no light pollution, no noise pollution, roads destroyed. Yeah, just, you got to be very careful if you're going to be doing data centers, because once you put that in, you can't take it out. So they should be built right. And I know the Palisades is going through that with their rezoning, but you don't need caissons of concrete and rebar drilled how many stories into the ground when a pile-drived wooden electrical pole would have done the job. No need. No need to go so... You don't need to go overboard, but you should factor in the reservoir, the nuclear power plant, the noise, the impact on nature. And just design them better if we're going to use them. Well, it's either we do them here or else we're going to get beat by China. We better put these everywhere. Yeah, AI is cool, but like, I mean, how much of the surveillance grid do we want to be on? But these are conversations that a free people get to discuss. It's something people in Cuba, people in Iran, people in various places across the globe, look all across Europe. You're not allowed to have open conversations about common sense topics. Let's be appreciative that we still have that here, and let's defend it with every breath that we take. Thank you all for being here. Look at the music I sent you. You sent me music. Where did you send me music to, Kenneth? That was me signing out, but now I saw your comment, and I got to get an answer. Oh, hi-ho, Silver. Lone Ranger said, not for sale. How did you send me music? Did you mail the P.O. box? Did you shoot an email? Or do you mean the music that you previously sent? Or is there new music? Kenneth, got to get your answer before we wrap. I don't know how many seconds of a delay we have here. I know it's not simultaneous, instantaneous. You know what? I'm staying live. F it, we'll do it live until I get the update from Kenneth. What music are you referencing that you sent? The previous stuff from a year or two ago? Or is there something new I should look for? Waiting. Hold on. My carpenter went overboard on his prices. Ah, okay. Yes, the zip drive. When you say, look at the music I sent you, what do you want me to look for? What are you referencing specifically? In reference to what did that comment come out? I was just wondering if should I go check the P.O. box for something? The old music. Okay, that's what you're talking about. And you're connecting it to our conversation today in what regard? Just in general, make sure you're listening to it? Or just something specific? That's the part I'm trying to get an answer on. The old music. Yes. And yeah, Patriot Warrior saying it's time for President Trump to endorse Ken Paxton. and asked John Cornyn to step aside. Trump allegedly, I think, told one of them to drop out, and he'd endorse the other. But it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, these primaries matter. I'm really rooting for Los Angeles. I'm rooting for California to get their stuff figured out. It's just, it's a travesty the way that some of these blue cities and blue states have been just looted, plundered dry. Oh, as intro music. Okay. Well, the problem is, unless it's music you created with your copyright, I can't use it. I can't really use any music, right? Everything has a copyright, and then I'll get a ding if I try to play something for more than a couple seconds. YouTube will shut it down. I'm actually still 5 days away with advertising revenue been quarantined in a escrow account while my copyright claim has been working through the system. And that was because I was playing AI-generated music off of Restream that we're allowed to use, but it pulled a copyright claim. And I said, no, this is AI. This is music that's copyright-free, royalty-free. It's free for anyone to use. It's provided through Restream so that we could play it without facing a but it still takes 30 days to work through their system. Yeah, Trump better endorse Paxton. $2028. No more Big Mike conversation. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Come back tomorrow. Bring a friend. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. You know the deal. Signing out on behalf of everybody out there in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we will talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.